It was now 26 January 1945. Murphy had made the most of what was available, but was informed that his reinforcements had not yet arrived, and they wouldn't make it that day. At 2 p.m. that day, 6 tanks and 250 elite German mountain troops moved out of the village towards their position. Murphy only had time to get a phone call and a call for artillery before the shooting started. It turns out that the road to a German victory in the Colmar pocket ran through the road his company was holding. The American tank destroyers opened up on the incoming German tanks immediately, but the fire was ineffective. They were taken out almost either by enemy tank rounds or poor maneuvering, which scattered surviving anti-tank troops into the forest. The only silver lining was the M10 tank destroyers' mounted guns, which tore into the German infantry. But even that didn't last long. Company B's machine gun crew was hit next. Murphy knew his unit couldn't hold this vital stretch and ordered his men to fall back into the forest. He would cover their retreat while directing artillery fire. With the Germans advancing and his carbine out of ammunition, Murphy spied a burning tank destroyer and its remaining 50 cal machine gun. Instead of going back into the forest, he climbed aboard the turret and began pouring fire into the oncoming enemy advance. He believed the tanks could not advance without infantry, so he began mowing them down. Murphy was right. As he cut down enemy troops, the German tanks were forced to fall back to their own tree line. He fought on as enemy tank shells and artillery exploded around him. For an hour, Murphy was obscured by smoke and fire, and firing the machine gun stopped only to reload, call in artillery fire, or recover from the exploding 88 millimeter shells. After what must have seemed like days, the clouds parted and he was able to get close air support from the Allied air power. In the face of all that firepower, the Germans finally began a retreat toward the village. It was a great timing for Murphy because his phone to Allied artillery suddenly went dead. He left the tank destroyer and rejoined his men in the relative safety of the forest. After he reached the tree line, the turret on which he stood for the entire hour blew up, tossing it in sky high. Refusing to be evacuated or deterred, Murphy then began a plan to counterattack. Retaking their original position from the remaining Germans, Company B held its ground through that night and reinforced the 30th Infantry Regiment, capturing the village the next day. Had Murphy not made his stand atop the burning armored vehicle, it's likely the entire company, undermanned and demoralized, would have been annihilated. Murphy was promoted to first lieutenant and received the Legion of Merit for his leadership during the Colmar Pocket operation. On June 2nd, 1945, Lieutenant General Alexander Patch, commander of the 7th Army, presented the 19-year-old Murphy with the Medal of Honor for his actions outside Holtzwer.
God.
By the war's end, he would famously receive every medal for valor the United States offer, along with 3 Purple Hearts for his trouble. The little man was a badass.
That's, no, I mean, you hear about him, but you don't realize, Jesus.
Yeah, sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, that's all. Go ahead.
We talk shit, and rightfully so, about lieutenants.
Yeah.
Right? And those are early to mid-20s lieutenants. That's not a freaking 19-year-old LT
19.
with sped up military training. Like, basic back then and initial training was sped up because of the war. I mean,
yeah,
that guy is ridiculous.
I mean, it seems like, and I think they wrote Captain America before that, but if you're talking about a guy who joined at 16, he was what, 5'6"?
Yeah, he was short.
Yeah,
short
small guy. I wonder if they took that for Captain America model, to try to join in. I mean, Jesus.
How tall was the LT?
5'6".
5'6".
And he stayed on that tank. Now, this is from his movie, which I've seen the clips from the movie. It's a 1955 movie. It's just he shoots, and then the German guys go, oh, and they fall over. There's no real special effects. But
Eric said he stayed on that tank for almost an hour.
An hour.
Only having time to reload and
call in artillery
support.
Fire. It's like, where was everybody else?
That's what I'm saying. You didn't have one NCO going, Private, get back up there and help that damn LT.
It's like,
Unless there was like 3 privates feeding him ammo and stuff
Maybe
the whole
yeah,
time, and then
maybe.
the LT is the only one that got recognition.
But there's
Well,
no other radios. It's crazy.
Nothing.
You know?
The movie, he says he orders everybody out. He
Yeah.
didn't want in the movie. He orders them.
Right. Yeah. So you got the old salty NCO. It's like, hey, the 19-year-old said stay in the woods. So
LP
we're
said-
staying in the woods.
I will tell you guys, when I was there in Colmar, he has a road, a highway through the city of the village
Oh.
named after him.
Yeah.
And
that's
everything. I sent you guys some pictures, but where the actual tank was set, there's a memorial and his story behind the memorial. So it's really cool.
That's really
That
awesome.
is cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
To this day, they don't forget him because they would be
Audie
speaking
Murphy Day.
hardcore German. That's right.
Well, it's amazing that Germans didn't know, right? And he's mowing down their infantry, and that their doctrine was tanks don't go without infantry. So he looks back and he's like, all our infantry's gone, so let's pull the tanks back. It was single-handedly
Big time.
deterred that attack in time for air and everybody else to support him. That's crazy. That's amazing.
The hell of a
And-
story.
And when was his action where he stumbled upon the Germans and shot them all when they didn't realize he was to their flank? That was like a year earlier, I think. Or
It was
earlier
before.
that year, I think.
Yeah,
I can't
it was
remember.
before.
When he get lost taking a piss, and then he's like, "Ah, bad guys."
I don't know what led up to it, but I know he kind of he caught a firing position like off guard, and he shot them, and then he got the machine gun, and then it's like, hey, I'm along the whole front. I'm on the side of their whole front, and just kind of went down the line and killed all these Germans. And it was like, holy shit.
And by the way, what made it worse is it's in the middle of the winter. It's up to their ass. They're up to their ass in
Oh,
snow,
this one, Colmar
waist deep
Pocket?
snow.
Yeah.
Well, even his action before that was in
Oh,
snowy
it
weather.
was.
Yeah,
Okay.
because nobody could dig a foxhole. Nobody could dig a fighting position.
Jeez, so
Can you
I mean,
can you imagine just that situation? You're coming up on enemy troops, and all of a sudden you start receiving fire, and they're like, "Dig in," and you're like, "Tink,
nothing? Yeah,
Hi,
there's
Yeah.
nothing. Right.
Yeah,
hi.
scratching holes in there,
Right.
I'm starting to stack
my
dead bodies in front of me. Yeah.
dude. The mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Korea,
listening
too.
to
Those
an
guys in
audio book.
Korea, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an audiobook about the Texas Rangers, and there's one guy that's talking about getting ambushed by a group of Indians, like Kiowa or something like that. He literally rides his horse full speed, finds a divot in the plains, wraps the stirrup around, or the whatever, what's it
The
called?
horse.
Fucking stabs the horse because he didn't want to waste a bullet, and the smell of blood freaks out other horses, so he kills his own horse
It was his reins.
and drops it. Yeah, the reins. Drops the horse so he has cover.
Yeah.
Oh,
Use
shit.
the horse as cover.
What? And then he's like, I'm going to try to get a horse. First of all, I'm going to try to survive. And then I'm
right.
stuck in the middle of freaking mid Texas,
Nowhere.
anywhere
Yeah.
in Texas.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, these are different men.
Yeah.
He's
Well-
like, this is my friend and companion, and screw it. We were
Not
buddies
today,
once.
Today.
Well, and there might have been 5 guys who tried that before and it didn't work.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
He's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
that
yeah.
did work, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
One victory.
You know?
Exactly.
You did
All
the
it
horse
takes is
thing?
one.
I tried that. It didn't work for me.
I shot in the ass with 4 arrows. One cheek. Can you believe it?
Oh shit.
I think they were messing with me.